You are watching this channel. Join us today as we delve into the rich world of ancient Egyptian mythology. The legend of Osiris and his wife and sister, Isis, is a tale that has captivated audiences for centuries. In today's episode, we will take a deep dive into the intricate details of their relationship, exploring how they came to be man and wife, and the profound impact their bond had on the afterlife. According to ancient Egyptian texts, the gods made several attempts at creating humans, but these attempts were unsuccessful until the creation of Adam and Eve. After King George I of England brought the story of Adam and Eve to the world, it was considered the only story that could explain human existence. But in Egypt, where polytheism was the norm, there was no such explanation required. They already had humans, so creating beings from water or clay wasn't necessary. Therefore, Osiris and Isis weren't the first humans. Instead, they were believed to be the first pharaohs. They ruled over Egypt during the Age of the Gods and were considered the first king and queen of the entire civilized world. Their union symbolized the perfect balance between the spiritual and material realms, bringing order and harmony to the land of the living and the afterlife. Now let's get back to the story. In Egyptian mythology, the relationship between Osiris and Isis wasn't just a love story, it was a divine union. It all began with the death of Osiris. According to legend, after establishing the first kingdom, Osiris decided to travel to the underworld to bring order to the realm of the dead. However, he never returned, leaving his wife and Queen Isis in a state of despair. Determined to find her husband, Isis embarked on a perilous journey through the underworld, facing many obstacles along the way. Despite the challenges, her determination never wavered, and eventually she was rewarded with the discovery of a magical flower called the Blue Lotus. This flower held the power to resurrect Osiris and bring him back to the land of the living. But here's the twist. There was a catch to this resurrection. Osiris would only return to life if Isis used the flower to conceive a child by him. With this newfound knowledge, Isis wasted no time. She immediately set out to find her husband's remains, which were scattered across the underworld. Through sheer determination and the help of her sister Nephthys, she managed to locate and collect all the pieces. Using the power of the Blue Lotus, she resurrected Osiris, and the two were finally reunited. However, their reunion was short-lived, as Osiris soon departed again, this time to rule over the afterlife. Before leaving, he tasked Isis with continuing his legacy and bringing order to Egypt. And so Isis took on the role of both queen and pharaoh, ruling over the land with wisdom and grace. But her reign was not without its challenges. One of the most significant threats came from her brother-in-law, Set, who was consumed by jealousy and anger over Osiris's death. Set was envious of Osiris's power and status and plotted to overthrow him. Despite the danger, Isis remained steadfast in her commitment to her husband's legacy. She continued to spread the teachings of Osiris throughout Egypt, and her efforts did not go unnoticed. Her son Horus, who was conceived during the brief time Osiris spent in the land of the living, grew up hearing tales of his father's greatness and the importance of maintaining order in the universe. As Horus grew older, he began to understand the gravity of his father's death and the threat that Set posed to the stability of Egypt. Fueled by a desire for justice and a sense of duty to his family, Horus resolved to confront his uncle and put an end to his reign of terror. With Isis's guidance and support, Horus assembled a loyal following of gods and mortals alike. Together, they battled Set in a series of epic confrontations that shook the very foundations of the Egyptian cosmos. During these battles, Horus displayed incredible strength, courage, and wisdom, proving himself to be a worthy successor to his father's legacy. Set, on the other hand, resorted to underhanded tactics and brute force, attempting to use his own powers to destroy Horus and his allies. But despite Set's best efforts, Horus emerged victorious. In the end, he defeated Set and reclaimed the throne of Egypt for the rightful heir. In the aftermath of the battle, Horus and Isis's followers celebrated their victory, but they also mourned the loss of those who had fallen in the conflict. To honor the fallen, Isis performed a series of rituals and ceremonies designed to guide their souls to the afterlife with peace and dignity. These rituals became an integral part of Egyptian funerary practices and helped to ensure that the dead were treated with the respect and reverence they deserved. After restoring order to Egypt, Horus and Isis turned their attention to the realm of the dead. Recognizing the need for a proper ruler in the underworld, they worked together to establish a system of beliefs and practices that would guide the souls of the departed to the afterlife. At the center of this system was the concept of the scales of justice, which determined the fate of each soul based on its actions during life. If the soul weighed more than a feather, it was allowed to pass into the field of reeds, a paradise-like realm where it could enjoy eternal peace and happiness. However, if the soul weighed less than a feather, it was devoured by the goddess Amit, who represented chaos and destruction. But it wasn't just the concept of judgment that Horus and Isis brought to the underworld. They also introduced the idea of rebirth. According to their teachings, the soul could be reborn into a new body after passing through the underworld, allowing it to continue its journey of growth and enlightenment. This belief provided hope to the Egyptians, who saw death not as an ending, but as a transition to a new phase of existence. As the rulers of Egypt and the afterlife, Horus and Isis were revered by their people as divine figures. They were worshipped in temples, and their images adorned the walls of tombs and monuments. But despite their godlike status, they remained humble and compassionate towards their followers. They were known for their generosity and kindness, always willing to help those in need, whether it was providing food and shelter to the poor or protecting the weak from harm. Horus and Isis were tireless in their efforts to make life better for their subjects. One of the most famous stories that illustrates their compassion is the tale of the magic staff. When Osiris was killed, his body was chopped into 14 pieces and scattered across Egypt. Isis traveled to each location to retrieve a piece of her husband's remains, but she was unable to find the staff that had been thrown into the Nile River. Without the staff, she could not fully resurrect Osiris, and so she appealed to the gods for help. Hearing her plea, Horus retrieved the staff from the depths of the river and returned it to his mother. With the staff now in hand, Isis was able to complete the resurrection of Osiris and restore balance to the world. This act of kindness and generosity became a symbol of hope for the Egyptians, who knew that no matter how difficult their situation might seem, Horus and Isis were always there to help guide them through the darkness and into the light. But the legend of Horus and Isis doesn't end there. Their influence can still be seen in the world around us today. For example, the ancient Egyptians believed that the sun god Ra created the world by sailing across the sky in his solar bark. This journey was dangerous, however, as the sky was full of demons and other creatures that tried to hinder Ra's progress. To protect the sun god on his journey, Horus and Isis sent their son, the falcon-headed god Horus, to guide and defend him. This tale is thought to be the origin of the zodiac constellation known as the Sun's Barge, which depicts the scene of Ra's journey with Horus at the helm. Additionally, the ancient Egyptians kept a careful watch on the stars and constellations in the night sky, believing that they were a map to the underworld, guiding the souls of the dead to their final destination. This practice is believed to have inspired our modern-day fascination with astrology and astronomy. So next time you look up at the stars or read your horoscope, remember that you're carrying on a tradition that dates back thousands of years to the ancient Egyptians, a tradition that was made possible by the legendary king and queen Horus and Isis. Their story may have been passed down through the ages, but their influence continues to be felt today. If you enjoyed learning more about the fascinating world of ancient Egyptian mythology, then please don't forget to like this video and subscribe to our channel. By doing so, you'll be showing us your support, which we truly appreciate and cherish. We've got lots more entertaining and educational content planned for the future, and your support will help us to keep bringing these videos to a wider audience. So join our growing community of mythology enthusiasts and stay tuned for more captivating tales from around the world. Thanks for watching.